Hey everyone, in this episode we're going to talk about Steve McQueen's newest film, Widows. We're going to give you our thoughts on the cast, the action, all the twists and turns, and more. This is episode 93 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Hello listeners, I'm Donnie.
And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer Ruben.
Hello.
Hello, Ruben says, and this is the Reel-ists Podcast. Thank you guys for checking us out.
Mix.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna create my own theme song here.
That'd be cool.
It would be, right? Well, we don't need to because we have we have DJ Apnick who has our thing, original theme. What do you mean, make us a track?
He does a track and you can sing over it.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Communicate with him.
Oh, DJ Apnick. All right, I'm coming for you, man. I need a track. Drop the beat. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you are a new listener, welcome. We're really honored that you chose us to listen to. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. Thank you for staying faithful and loyal to us. We really appreciate it.
Always.
Remember, you can find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Team Reelists, Team REELISTS, no dash. And you can also leave us a comment anytime, anywhere, any place. Well, not any place. You can leave us a comment on YouTube and on iTunes. And we just are always open to communication with our listeners. Anything from questions to suggestions you might have for us that maybe you want to hear us do something different, cover a movie maybe we didn't cover, or give you a different thought on something, anything at all, whatever you feel like. We're open, we're ready. So I think we can jump right into the movie that we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Widows, which was a mind-blowing film. And I will throw it to you, Oscar. Why don't you give us some of your initial thoughts of the film?
This was one of those movies that the hype was building up, and you wanted to, not get too excited because then you don't want to walk away feeling, disappointed. But it met my expectations, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun to be able to, see it all unfold. And I know that they kept marketing it was like shocking twist and turns and whatever and all that stuff. And I felt like there was some. I don't know if it was like the most or, the most dramatic twist you've ever seen in your life, but it was still entertaining. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about some of those twists in more detail, but I really did enjoy this overall. I felt the cast was great, despite a lot of well-known actors not getting too much screen time, more than you would have thought so. But it still managed to be very, very interesting, and you really want to see it play out, and I think you get satisfied. I think everyone would be satisfied with the end result of this movie, and yeah, I'm really glad that it was another, I guess I want to say, a hit for Gillian Flynn, following Gone Girl. So that was another expectation of this was the person that created Gone Girl. Now they created Widows.
One of our favorite movies.
Right. So it's like, I trust you, and she did not let me down. So that's awesome. So she's 2 for 2 in the books.
Absolutely. So a police shootout leaves 4 thieves dead during an explosive armed robbery attempt in Chicago. Their widows, Veronica, Linda, Alice, and Belle, have nothing in common except a debt left behind by their spouse's criminal activities. Hoping to forge a future on their own terms, Veronica joins forces with the other 3 women to pull off a heist that her husband was planning. So that's pretty much the synopsis of the film. I'll give you my quick thoughts. I loved it. And I did have really high expectations going in because it was getting, it's like an all-star cast, which is like, and you could just, a lot of familiar faces. It's directed by Steve McQueen, who did 12 Years a Slave. And that film was incredible for so many reasons. So, and then, like you said, Gillian Flynn was behind this one, who did Gone Girl, which was like one of our favorite movies. So there was a lot of hype going into this film, and I was trying to calm myself down because I was like, don't overhype it because you don't want to walk away disappointed. So I kept telling myself, okay, it'll be okay. I hope it's a good movie. I hope it's a good movie. And it was a really good movie. Like you said, Oscar, not the most shocking, twists ever, like in cinematic history. It's not like, but they were shocking enough to be effective and they really were. And it was definitely one of my favorite films of the year. I'll say that. So
look at you previewing what's to come this year at the end of the year.
Stay tuned, listeners. And so like I was saying, this movie had a lot of stars in it. It was obviously starring Viola Davis, Liam Neeson, Elizabeth Debicki, Michelle Rodriguez, Daniel Kaluuya, Colin Farrell, Cynthia Erivo, and then some notable other familiar faces: John Bernthal, Carrie Coon, Brian Tyree Henry, Robert Duvall, Jackie Weaver was in it. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on. Jesus. Oh, and so the guy that I was saying, I wonder where he's from. Lucas Haas. He was the one that played the guy who was basically paying for the services from the girl.
Right. Yes, I know. Yes.
So correct. That guy is from, or that actor is from this movie way back when called Witness, that he got a lot of praise for. He was because he was a child actor, and he got a lot of praise for his performance.
You know who I was thinking it was, but I knew it wasn't. Was the actor from Karate Kid.
I could totally see that.
That's what I was thinking it was.
They do look familiar. I could see that.
That's what. But then I was like, no, because he's on the YouTube show that the follow up to Karate Kid. I forgot what the name of it was called. So I was like, I don't think that's him, because I know that they just didn't match. The hair was not matching. But that's who I thought it was when we were talking about it. Yeah. But yeah. Cool. No, I don't know that movie, Witness.
I mean, I haven't seen it. I just know the movie, and I know from specials and stuff that I know where he's from.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, so that's the cast, star-studded cast. What did you think about? Because like you had said, I was expecting specifically the four men. So the four men that the film opened up. It was Liam Neeson, John Bernthal. And then two other guys.
Okay. I'd hate to be those actors. You have not reached Donnie's stardom level.
I'm sorry. Okay, Manuel Garcia Rulfo, and I don't even know who the other one was. But anyways, it opened up with them. They were doing this robbery, and then we didn't get a lot of time with them. I mean, they were killed. And that was pretty much it. And I was hoping that they were gonna at least flash back to them, so that we can get a little more screen time. But we got crumbs.
Very little crumbs.
Which, I mean, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't a terrible thing, but
extra number 5 in one scene probably got the same amount of screen time.
like that for real, like that. Aside from obviously Liam Neeson, he's like one, but
yeah, because I think that's a character rather than a cameo. The other ones were cameos. Not even. We say cameos because they were characters, but their amount of screen time was very little. That was a little disappointing because I felt like that would have helped us really understand these relationships. I know they gave us snippets of some of them were they actually weren't all the same, but some we had Viola Davis's love, who was romantic. They looked like they were in love. Mm-hmm. And then you had
and
then you had Michelle Rodriguez, who was kind of they were split, but they had kids, so that's why they were still in each other's lives. Mm-hmm. And it was some kind of just we're doing it for the kids kind of situation.
But it still seemed like they both, I think, loved each other, and it seemed like, from what I got, I mean, because he kissed her and she seemed pretty heartbroken when he died. Obviously, it's the baby's father, but I don't know. I got the vibe that maybe.
I thought it was. I took it as they were split because they were just the way they argued. It didn't seem, but it could be. It was one of those relationships that they're doing something together, but they don't agree with something, maybe because they were, in the moment we caught them was at the store store that they were owning. So there was that relationship. We had one that was an abusive relationship, And then we had one that we really didn't get to know much because that was like the least important couple.
Yeah.
And it was more of just like he tells her what they're doing. Like that's really all I took away from it, was that he was more open to like the crimes he was doing, and she was just like whatevs.
Are you talking about the one with the baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't even know her character name. But who we found out was the sister in
from
Gone Girl.
Margot from Gone Girl,
Yeah.
Carrie Coon. Who we had no idea. She totally did not look like, well, I guess like Margot. I'm like, man, those glasses in Gone Girl did a lot.
Right.
Like a whole nother freaking disguise.
But so she didn't have, like, that relationship wasn't delved into at all. It was just kind of like they look like they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just had a kid. Looks like it was the first kid, so I guess that's just the stage in the relationship.
Right.
So it was disappointing because we didn't get much. So
and then you had John Bernthal, the abusive guy.
Oh, so it was 5. Okay, I thought there was 4. So yes, you're right, 5. Well, that's what I said. He was abusive with. That was the abusive one.
Oh, did you say that?
I didn't say his name.
Oh, okay.
But I said that was the abusive one.
Oh, okay. There was an abusive one. Maybe I missed it. Okay.
Okay,
gotcha.
but yeah, so there was 4, right? That was just the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's what really kind of was just like, well, I get we're supposed to take away from the wives that this was a lost, but as audience members, we're just like, whatever. in a way, like we're just like, oh well, that sucks. You know, we haven't bonded with these characters, and the amount that they've shown it was with tells us their position, but doesn't have us caring for their life. So, yeah, that's kind of a disappointment too. Was just that little factor of it was cool to see, you know, that they were all in like unique spots, but we didn't get to know them.
Right.
I know that the point of the movie is that they die, but that doesn't mean you can't still develop them.
I know. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I wish they would have just like maybe did some flashbacks to like maybe all of them like kind of maybe all the wives like reminiscing at some point throughout the film. They did it more. So, I mean, they did it with Viola Davis's character Veronica because
yeah, she had more plots than just the thief, the heist.
Exactly. But Alice and Linda and what's the other woman's name? I think her name was Amanda, Carrie Coon, if I'm not mistaken. Her name was Amanda in the film. But like, yeah, I was hoping like maybe they'll all be like reminiscing about their, you know, their husbands or something, and then they'll show us, you know, they'll interject here a memory of some sort, maybe a good memory, maybe a bad memory, I don't know.
It would make
something.
Right, it would make sense in the moment of like maybe we can't do this, maybe an emotional like scene of like maybe the husband's also doubting them or maybe encouraging them that they can do something. I don't know, like something that would have been helpful. I don't think obviously we still like the movie, so it wasn't a big difference not having them, but it would have been helpful.
Right. So what I really liked about this movie, the acting was really good. I loved the characters. I liked that the main focus of the film was about this heist gone wrong, and the wives basically having to carry out this next heist to basically pay their husband's debts. So you had that was like the main plot of it, but there was also another like subplot of Colin Farrell's character, who was basically born into this I guess this family with political ties. His father was a governor, big time governor. He was running for governor or mayor or something, right? Governor or mayor.
Yes, I think it was mayor. It was mayor.
Mayor of this city in the suburb, Chicago. I can't talk, sorry. And then he was going against Brian Tyree Henry's character, who was also going for the same position. But they were both like corrupt, and there was such it made me uneasy. This film really made me like uneasy in a good way, you know, because it's like you have these two politicians who are supposed to be, you know, I mean, they want to, it's by definition, you would hope that if you're running for mayor, you're trying to like help the city, help the community, do all these good things, but
nonsense. It's
not
all about
really.
Power.
Like Brian's character, he was like just wanted power because he kind of saw like how the world works, and you know, he was like, I'd rather be, you know, doing this than trying to hustle and sell drugs or whatever.
Right.
And then Colin
Unlike
Farrell,
his brother, who had no problem with that.
right? Daniel Kaluuya, or his brother Daniel Kaluuya, was played by Daniel Kaluuya, not his real life brother. And then Colin Farrell was, just
he was hustling in the political game.
he really was, and there was the scene that really, or one of the characters that really kind of bothered me too was the pastor that they were when they went to the pastor's church after he gave this sermon, and he was really charismatic and really persuasive and seemed really uplifting. And then and then they go and talk to him like when there's nobody around, and it's very like, okay, like you switch gears here, and now you get the real side of it, and how it just everything is like a game, not a game, but what am I trying to say? I can't find my words tonight. Help me out, Ruben.
He's like, I'm not even listening.
It's like it's just like that's the way it makes you feel like that's the way the world works. Like we have these mayors and these politicians and these pastors, but it's like
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was director's intent to kind of be like, this is how it feels for us, or this is how it feels for the public. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what his intention was, but I mean, it made me think about like, dang, is this really the world we live in? Like,
yes.
Thank you, Oscar.
Any other questions?
Let me answer your question right now. Yes, it's the world we live in. But anyways, you had that whole kind of subplot going on too of these two people trying to win this election. So, but I really liked it. It added layers to the story, and I really, really appreciated it for that. And speaking of that, one of the scenes that I wanted to point out that I thought was really nice, I'm saying it because I don't want to forget it, but it was the scene when Colin Farrell was giving this speech about how he's helping African American women become business owners in the community, this and that, and then that kind of reporter guy is like asking them all these hard-hitting questions, so he kind of scurries out of there, jumps in his limo, and then they go on a drive basically from one block to like his home, and the whole scene is shot with like the camera like basically just looking like filming the windshield of the car, and you can see, and you're literally just watching him drive from one location to another while you're hearing Colin Farrell talk about something in the limo. But I really, really liked that scene because it really showed you how close in proximity like his lavish mansion was to like the ghetto pretty much, but it also showed you like even though it's so close in proximity, there's like two completely different worlds. And I just thought it was a really, really beautifully shot scene, and I really thought it was nice. And
I liked the concept of it. I did not like the angle that the camera was placed in the car though. I get we wanted to see the car driving off from the poor community to the more well established middle class higher ups community, because it didn't look like a rich community. Obviously that would have been gated and you would have had a keypad, but I didn't like that we were stuck on the car, and at the very least we didn't even see the actors, so it could have been just like a voiceover ADR kind of situation. I liked the concept. I did like the concept of showcasing the change as they were driving, but I didn't like the angle that the car was in. And I think it correct me if I'm wrong, but it does like a circle too. Not a circle, but it does like goes from the left and then turns into the right. It like switches.
Like it rotates.
It turns
yeah.
opposite end.
Yeah. It does because he left from the left side, that speech he was giving, and then his home was on the right side.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I felt like I really liked the concept, but that scene, just having that piece of the car in it was just distracting to me.
At first it was for me too, but then once we arrived to his home,
right,
then I was like, oh, okay.
Right. You pick up what the scene's about, but I to me, what I was trying to see was where we were going to see his reactions inside, because he was upset. Like it wasn't like a calm discussion. He was heated.
Yeah.
So then it's just like you're stripping us from seeing, the actor perform that. Well, I guess let's call it like a little dialogue, because he has his assistant with him, to showing that the neighborhood. But that car is distracting because I feel like we should be seeing him in the car, So that was my thoughts. I like the concept though. It was a really interesting concept, and I feel like it could have been effective if it just wasn't showing us the car. Like if it would have just cut off the window entirely and just showed us like the street views, I think that would have been
right
a little bit better.
I gotcha.
But I can see where that also can be boring because then just like I'm watching nothing. Or at the very least, if they would have showed him in the car, if we would have been able to see his like movements in the car, then I would have been fine.
Okay, so you just needed to physically see these actors.
If you're gonna show us most like what a good third of the screen is the car, so yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, it's not for everyone. Okay, everyone has their own taste. Well, let's talk about some of these twists because this is the thing too that I will say. Not to be like a nitpicker here, but let me nitpick. I kept hearing in the trailers and everything, the film with like that doesn't stop twisting and turning. It keeps leaves you blah 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 blah. They kept hyping it up so much like there was going to be so many twists and turns. I personally did not feel like there was that many. Ruben, you said you thought it was pretty twisty turny. No?
Yeah, but not like that crazy.
Not like that crazy.
I didn't think so.
There was one major one.
There was two that I felt was in this movie.
Okay, so the biggest one was that Liam Neeson did not die. He was alive, and not only was he alive, but he kind of like staged this whole thing. He was the one that killed the other three guys, essentially, and he was gonna try to run away and I guess start a new life with Amanda. I need to check that just to make sure I'm not saying like a completely wrong character.
No, that's her name.
Is that her name?
The Margot?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Alice.
What was the other twist, Oscar?
So to me, the twist was the revelation of that being alive, and then I mean it's not a big twist, but that the girls looked like they lost the heist, and then they came right back and had that scene getting the money back.
Yeah.
And then Viola Davis kind of was able to come out on top. That kind of all that I would consider like a twist. Because the scene makes it seem like Daniel Kaluuya's character got away. He was like, "Gotcha! Like this is my money." And from that part,
so this is like the end of the movie. The girls are in the house trying to get the money. They're coming down. Blah blah blah. Robert Duvall's in there. He's like, "You think you're taking my money away?" Blah blah blah. Some bullets get fired. He dies. Thanks to Michelle Rodriguez, she killed him. I mean, thankfully he was and then the blonde chick, I think her name is, I'm trying to find names here. Blah 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 blah. Alice got shot in the shoulder. Nothing too bad, but they get in the car. Belle is the babysitter who she came into the movie like at some point, but she's the getaway driver, and they get into the car. It looks like they're good. They all get in the car. They got the money. Daniel Kaluuya's in the passenger seat. Like, this is my money.
I hope anyone that's seeing this is okay with spoilers. We didn't.
I was gonna say
we didn't mention it, but Donnie just is right here telling you the twist. Continue. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So then it does look like he gets away, but then surprise, they come run like right on his tail. Kind of bash his car in, and he drives into some concrete walls and dies. And then they get the money.
Right.
And then
it looks like everyone's out of their way, and Liam Neeson comes back one final time. That's just like, I need the money.
Right.
And she's like, you ain't getting the money. And then he was like, I'm getting the money. Just kidding. That was my interpretation. That was not the dialogue in the movie. That was my interpretation of the scene.
So, just FYI, her character's name, Carrie Coon's character,
Amanda, right?
is Amanda.
Yeah. Amanda sounded right.
Yeah.
And Alice was the other girl.
Yeah, Alice was the one with the abusive husband. Did you guys know, a little FYI, that the actress, Elizabeth Debicki, she's 6'2".
The blonde lady?
Yeah, the blonde who was...
I think she looks 6'2".
She did? I knew she was taller, but I didn't think she was that tall. I was like, geez, she's like hovers over me.
Maybe everybody was tall. Maybe that's why we didn't notice.
Everybody was...
She didn't seem taller than everybody else. Right?
What is Viola Davis's height?
Oh, I don't know.
You do the research.
Here, I'm going to look this up.
I got it.
We have a fact checker.
Viola Davis is... Oh, I don't got it. No, I don't. Ruben, you're on. You're up. while you find that, I do want to talk about the big twist, Liam Neeson being alive. However,
5'5".
she's 5'5". Viola Davis is 5'5".
Breaking news.
This just in.
Don't you guys want Donnie to be your breaking news?
Okay, now Michelle Rodriguez. Do Michelle Rodriguez. So Liam Neeson, it turns out he's alive. In the end, when Viola Davis is packing up the van with the money, he comes out and it's like, oh my God, he's alive. However, they did allude to it kind of midway through the film because there was a scene when Viola Davis, or I'll just call her Veronica, was trying to recruit Amanda to be a part of the heist, and she goes over her house uninvited with her dog, and while Amanda is trying to settle the baby down in the next room, the dog runs over to this door and is just whimpering and scratching and pawing and barking at the door, and Veronica sees her husband's old flask sitting there on the table next to it, and she knows what's behind that door. She knows what's on the other side of the door. And I think as we all collectively knew at that point too who was behind the door, but she but she didn't open the door. She just walked away. So it kind of, we did find out right after, because Amanda came out and opened the door and showed us, surprise, Liam Neeson's alive, sitting there. Oscar, you had mentioned that you wish they hadn't shown us Liam Neeson.
Correct.
You wish they would have kept that door closed.
Correct.
And I 1,000% agree with you, but go ahead, tell us why you wish they would have.
Okay. So it should have been closed because the reveal of Liam Neeson, you mentioned, it was only served one other scene. That's why they revealed him earlier, at that moment, because there's one other scene that I don't even think he had to be in, but at least not at that moment. So anyways, it's revealed, and that gives you that expectation that yes, he's alive and he's somehow still going to be involved in the heist. If you're like keeping on tabs of what the movie's saying, but it would have been more effective had the door remained closed, because one, if you kind of put it together, you knew that was him. I don't think most people are going to think it's someone else. Or, I don't think anyone would be like, oh, it's the dead body. She has a dead body in there. Like
that crossed my mind for a split second. I was like, did she go?
I thought it was just saying he was cheating.
But the reveal that he's alive, like that it's still.
I thought he was still dead.
Oh, but you thought maybe his stuff.
That he was cheating.
Oh, I see.
Was there, and then she's like,
so,
you thought it was a flashback scene?
She was cheating, so he left his stuff there.
Yeah.
And so the dog was just.
I thought her mentality was like, why?
Yes.
Yeah. So Ruben thought
okay.
that there was a cheating going on.
The dog was barking because that was his flask.
But let's just say, even if that was your thought, that he was just cheating, right? Not seeing him at that moment would have made that ending reveal more impactful for you to be like, damn, so he was alive and that was him in the room. I think you would go back and look at it and be like, oh, that is him. And it would make you connect a little bit more. And it would have just made that scene more impactful versus he's going to show up again. Because it would defeat the purpose if he revealed to be alive. They show him talking to Colin Farrell's character, and then you don't see him again for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like they had to, in order to keep that scene with him on the boat with Colin Farrell, they had to.
I was thinking about
let
that.
us know he was alive.
But then I thought about it. I was like, well, once they revealed it was him, she probably would have asked why he didn't come back, and then they
could have played that scene.
They could have played that scene.
Yeah, so they could have ordered it differently.
Yeah.
And I totally 1,000% agree. I feel like it would have been more effective if they had not shown him physically until the last scene, until when he did appear on screen facing Viola Davis, because, we would have had that suspicion, obviously, because of the dog barking and the flash there. But we would have never gotten a confirmation until the end. So then it would have been then it could have been one of those, I knew it kind of thing. As opposed to, bam, we're letting the cat out of the bag. He's alive. And then move forward with the rest of the film, because he's going to resurface. Because now he's going to resurface at some point. There's going to be a face to face with him and his wife at some point at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for it. It's not shocking.
It's not. Yeah.
However, if we didn't see it, then we could have been like, oh, I wonder. We would have been on edge a little more.
It would have been fine. It would have been fine too if you would have been in that same boat of oh, he cheated on her. Damn. She found out that it wasn't exclusive, or it wasn't this love that they had. And then when you see him at the end, then you'd be like, well, why are you alive? You would have that same question she does, So when you get the answer of like, this is what he did, and that's, and then they could have showed us like, the door being open and it was him or something there to confirm that. But yeah, it could have been used more effectively. It was still a shock, and I liked that, I liked everything but the door opening. That's the crazy thing. I liked the dog barking, and making that constant crying
and
noise.
She was staring at the door a good amount of time, and the dog was barking.
Flask. Yeah, like if you put those things together, if you've seen dog, if you're a dog owner, if you know how dog behavior is and like how they want to go to something that know it's theirs, and the owner kind of would be an example of that. But yeah, I feel like even if you thought it was cheating, as Ruben like said, like that would have still been a good reveal to be like, oh, he's not cheating. He actually was, just trying to find a way to make this heist happen and leave her. I don't know, because essentially that's what he was doing, right? He was doing the heist to leave her too. That was a part of it. Like he was always going to leave her, and this heist was going to be the transition to like, and I'm leaving you.
Was that part of it?
Because he was going to leave her.
Well, the heist was like the cover, like to cover it, right? So like, because he wanted to leave, but this was like the easiest way to do it,
right?
So like, if she thinks I'm dead, then we're good, right?
Right. That's what I figured. Like it was like the heist served two purposes: was for him to get the money, and also to leave Viola Davis because he has come to the conclusion that it's just not going to work out despite their best efforts. Yeah,
things that losing their son and
which we haven't talked about. That scene in itself to me also was interesting. It was powerful, but I was just more of like, there's a lot of screen time going into this one particular.
Yeah. Death. Yeah. So they there was a scene. We find out that they lost a 17-year-old son that they had together. They buried him, and tears were shed, and all that stuff. And then a little later down the line, they showed us like the whole scene of how he died, which was nice, I guess, to inform us on exactly what happened. But I don't know that scene was like vital to stay in the movie. And then I feel like we kind of, I don't know. I feel like, I feel like we were back to The Hate U Give, or Blind Spotting.
It did, it did.
Now we're the whole time we were watching a movie about crime and corrupt politicians and how the system works, and then we're going to like police brutality, and I feel like it was like kind of switching the theme a little bit.
It was trying to dip into another topic, and I would have been fine leaving it with seeing that how he dies. It's okay to include that in the movie, but I think it would have just been able. Did they even say what that box was? No, right? It had no big.
It was Jesus. I can't get my words out. It was a watch. I was trying to say a watch and a Rolex, and I kept saying the. I think it looked like a watch. It was a gift for his wife. We know that, but specifically, I don't know what the item was.
But like it wasn't like a make or break. It was just like he wanted to give it to her, and
it was their anniversary, and he was like,
"I need it.
I need it," and he didn't. The kid didn't know that it was in the car, so and Liam Neeson was like, "You need to turn around right now and give it to me." So then, when he got pulled over, I don't know why he would have even reached for it in the first place. Like, it's not like the police were going to come and steal it from. Well, maybe not.
Well, that's why I was just like, was this anything? Like at first, when watching, I was like, maybe it might be something like drug related, gun related, something that can get you, in trouble.
Right.
But then
just knowing that it was just a gift for the wife,
I was like, I don't think they should have needed to include that.
Yeah.
Like you could have just had him talking to his dad, and his dad being like, "Come home now, fine." He was a kid, so that happens many times in parents, calling and saying, "Come home now." But I still think that part could have been shortened into just him knowing he has to go back home and turning around and then getting killed, rather than establishing like this whole like arc of like why he is driving and what like this gift I have to be returned.
I would have rather that screen time been put towards like the other actors, like the 3 other guys that got killed in the beginning. That would have been better for me personally.
But yeah, it would have been fine to keep his death scene, but it didn't need to be that long to get us what we needed, and that was the reason, or the start of the relationship falling between these two characters.
Right. Correct. So yeah, that's the story. I am glad that it ended in favor of the wives
Succeeding,
pulling off the heist.
Victorious.
Nobody died. I did find it interesting that I didn't know, or I don't know if you guys noticed it, but with the four husbands, John Bernthal, he was the one that got killed. He was the one that got hurt, shot. Well, they all died, but he was the one that got shot. And then with the four women, it was his wife. She was the one that got shot. Which I thought was, I don't know if that was intentional or just coincidental.
I can see it. I don't think that
there's
was
supposed to be a relation there, but I noticed it and I was like, oh, okay. So you're the sloppy couple. You're the couple that messes up. We're gonna pull off a heist. We're not gonna invite you in it. We're not gonna include you in it. But yeah, so they all got their money and
she got the second most screen time from the four. Michelle Rodriguez got the least
out of the four women.
Yeah. Well, Amanda in itself wasn't.
Yeah, she doesn't count.
But
Cynthia Arvino, I'd say is.
But she only got her add-on was one that I was like, is this enough for us to care about her? And I kind of was just like, I rooted for her, but it wasn't for the reasons of what she has been doing, but just more of her situation of like she needs money to support her family. And I feel like that was the only support. I was like rooting for her to win because there was nothing about her. I was not like, oh, her skills. Or make her a must on this team. Like there was nothing that was just like
the only thing they showed was like when she was chasing the bus and she was running really really fast,
right?
But that didn't really do anything because it's not like she was on foot running from the
exactly.
She was the driver.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't establish anything.
It looked like they were gonna use that. Like we're gonna show them that she's really super fast so that later on she
can deliver something.
But it wasn't. So it was like kind of unnecessary, I guess, to show.
But and it just went to. Are you a good driver?
Yeah.
It was one of those. So that's what I feel like. It was more of like your situation is why I'm supporting you rather than what you have shown me of why I should care for you. It wasn't even care. I think it was support.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I do want to just point out just really, really quickly, I feel like if anything, Michelle Rodriguez should have been the driver because Cynthia Arvino, she was the athletic, strong one. She was the one like punching the bag and quick. So if anybody could haul those heavy bags of cash, I would have picked her to do it. And then Michelle Rodriguez or Alice, because she's super, super skinny. I would have like been like, one of y'all be the driver. That to me would have made more sense. But just a little observation. But yeah, I mean, it was just it was an intense movie, but I got what I wanted from it. So I think with all that said, Oscar, what do you want to give it for your final real score? Before you do that, sorry, I'm jumping the gun a bit. Let me retract. Favorite scene.
Favorite scene. You know about the one with the car and it was showing the one that I said wasn't my favorite.
I had a little time to think about it, and
I will say to me, the scene. It's what are we talking about? Favorite here? That's the tough part. I mean, because I will say the scene that I was on like I would say edge of my seat like was when Brian Henry. Oh, I forgot his full
Tyree.
Yes, Brian Tyree Henry. When his character comes to visit Viola Davis to tell him she has to give him the $2 million, that's when my heart was pounding and racing because I was scared for the dog. Yeah. not Viola Davis because I know we have a full length movie to go, but the dog. And then he grabs the dog and starts petting it. So I thought it was gonna be one of those like, oh, you think this dog's alive, and then boom, kills it. And then he grabs it by the back, and the dog cries. So that emotionally got me, feeling something, and I was scared for the dog for the rest of the movie.
I was too.
I kept bringing it with her.
Yeah, I know, and I felt like there was going to be a scene where she went to go call it, and it's dead, or like they did something to it. I don't know.
But yeah, that
I don't want to say what I thought, but I thought it was going to be really brutal.
That scene,
thank God nothing happened to the dog.
Right. That I told you I was like, this movie's gonna be
terrible.
And
the people too.
Well, you kind of know, like they put themselves in. The dog did not do anything.
The dog had no say in this matter whatsoever.
So I will say that was probably in a way my favorite scene because it really got me on the edge and I was really nervous and effectively did that. And I know it's just for a dog, but still it did its job.
It did.
I was I was concerned, and that put the fear in my head that the dog is gonna die. So I like each time the dog showed up, I was scared. So yeah, that I would say that would be probably. And it's not my favorite because it's not one that I want to reenact or anything. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, the actors. Viola Davis was scared, and that was very good performance. And then Brian Tyree Henry did a very good job of giving that threat and that being an opposing figure where it's just like, you're going to do this or I'm going to kill you, to the point where she believes it. So,
Yeah.
very effective performances. And yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that was a scene that I did feel really, really bad for the dog. I mean, for Viola Davis, but when he grabbed the dog and it whimpered, I was like, that's so sad. Yeah, this movie had so many. I hate picking just one, but I loved the opening. The whole opening sequence was great. I feel like because you're in the middle of the heist, so right away it's throwing you right in. Like, this is the kind of movie you're getting yourselves into, people. And then it would switch to the really quiet moments and sweet romantic moments with Viola Davis and Liam Neeson. So you had this contrast of like this calmness and then this like chaotic heist getaway. And I loved the way that it was shot too, with when they were in the van and the door was hanging off the van and scraping against the concrete while they were driving, and the camera was in the van watching the police chase them. I loved it. It really got me amped. I also really, really liked, I know we're only supposed to pick one favorite, I'm sorry, but I can't. I really liked the scene when the two guys were beatboxing in the gym right before Daniel Kaluuya killed them.
Oh, yes.
I really liked that whole scene. One reason being they shot it in 360, so it was like a rotating camera, just shooting the scene. So you're getting every angle of it, and I liked that because it made me more. I knew Daniel Kaluuya was going to do something to them. I didn't know if he was going to slap them, stab them, shoot them. So he was going to do something, and he was making them beatbox and rap because that's what they were doing prior to the scene. And he was really in their face and looked really, really menacing and intimidating. So it just made me really, really nervous and scared for them. And to have the camera just kind of circling them the whole time, it made me. My eyes were just scanning the whole screen. I didn't know where this blow was going to come from. So like I was just really, really nervous for them. So I really liked that scene. And then obviously the heist scene was like the climax.
It was it was very
and it
good.
wasn't. Ruben had said that he felt like it wasn't like the most grandest heist scene. It was pretty short and would you say a little anticlimactic, or would you just?
Yeah, I was surprised at one. There was only one security guard, and it was the mayor's. Well, no, because he withdrew, right? Is that my understanding that the dad stopped being mayor, but now his son was running?
Yes.
Okay, so never mind. I take that back. Because for a second I thought he was still the mayor, and I was like, you should have had more security.
Oh no,
as the mayor, but
they were all at the debate, I guess. So, but yeah, I mean, and I mean, yeah, I think we all can agree on that. It was quick, and it's not like they had to jump through these humongous hurdles to get to the cash.
The only one that was just like, oh damn, that wasn't in their plans was Robert Duvall appearing with the gun. Yeah.
So I'd say I know I said what's your favorite scene, but I gave you 3 right there. But those were like my 3 ones. So with all that said, okay, now we can resume to the previous question, Oscar. Final real score for Widows.
I am going to give this for the enjoyment that I had watching it. Being able to talk about it kind of makes it seem like it's a bad movie.
I know, but you know what? I noticed we do that, like with movies that we score really high on. We do nitpick, and I think it's
that's a good thing. If you can nitpick on some things, then that means overall you still enjoyed it. Because with the performances, we could have sit here and talked about how great the performances are.
I know,
that's not what people want to hear. People want to hear the just kidding. But no, 4.5 is going to be this score for this movie. I really did enjoy watching it. Watching all the plots unfold and watching the characters, seeing being the victorious at the end. Daniel Kaluuya's Joker-like manners, all of that definitely he made me uncomfortable, which in that case he succeeded. And then you have Brian Tyree Henry and Colin Farrell, their political thing that you were intrigued with like, well, who's gonna come out on top. despite it being washed away. Like I was like, oh yeah, calling for one.
They did really like wipe their hands, like, and that was it.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't.
There wasn't a follow up,
but it was still overall satisfying. As of right now, and I don't think it would change, it doesn't surpass Gone Girl for me. I think Gone Girl still is my favorite from Gillian Flynn, but this one was a nice one that I can see myself wanting to watch and maybe pick up on more things if there's something that I missed. So overall, it was a great execution. Another one in the books, as I said, 2 for 2. So yes, 4.5 is my score for this one.
Gotcha. I give it the same score, 4.5. Loved it. Yes, we nitpicked the hell out of it and and it seemed like we were kind of, but it was that good of a film that we couldn't think of like major bad things to say. So we had to find all the little tiny details that we didn't like about it. But the performances all around were great. I mean, even we didn't really talk about it, but Robert Duvall's character was. I mean, he was just, you could tell that for the character, how corrupted, how the corruption, how deep rooted it was in him and probably his family and his lineage and even just his attitude towards, I mean, it was just, but he portrayed it so well. Robert Duvall is such an amazing actor. They all did great. The plot itself was really interesting. I loved the way it was filmed, the way it was scored. I mean, everything. It really was engaging, and it kept me on my toes, and it made me really feel uneasy, and I was thinking about it a lot. Like when we left the theater, I was thinking about it a lot that night and the next day, and just it really impacted me. So really, just really effective storytelling, and I thought it was great. I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you a lot tonight, Oscar. I did not surpass Gone Girl for me, but it's pretty. It's there. I mean, it's really a good film, and it's definitely something I want to watch again. And I think Steve McQueen just hit it out the park with this one, and as he did with 12 Years a Slave, and so I didn't expect anything less than. And I'm really satisfied with what we got. So Ruben, you want to throw your real score out there?
I give it a 4.
4.
Okay, Ruben gives it a 4. Well then. I'm just kidding.
Just edit that part out. You killed our hype.
I know, right? Well, listeners, definitely let us know what you guys thought if you saw the film. If it was just a home run for you, or if it fell flat on some areas. Share your thoughts. We're here, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Team Reel-ists, or you can leave us a message on YouTube and iTunes, and just let us know what you thought. And thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate it as always.
Until the next episode.
We'll catch you next time.